Today we're making stuffed mushrooms, and it's a twofer. I have two great stuffed mushroom recipes. One for when you have absolutely no time, and one for when you have a little bit more time. They're both delicious. You're gonna love them both, so let's get started. Making great stuffed mushrooms starts in your grocery store. You wanna buy the freshest, cleanest mushrooms you can find. Some people will ask, well, should I buy the white mushrooms or should I buy the brown ones? The brown ones are the baby bellas, the white ones are the button mushrooms. Today I'm using button mushrooms. I just buy the mushrooms that look the freshest. Now you can tell when a mushroom is really fresh when you turn it over and you don't see the stem starting to separate from the cap. That means that that was a recently picked mushroom. Once you have your mushrooms, the first step is to clean them. And I do that by taking a paper towel and just brushing off any debris that might be on the mushroom. You don't want to wash your mushrooms. They'll get soggy. And particularly when you're making a stuffed mushroom, you don't want to add any extra moisture to the mushroom as it cooks. You want it to be able to hold its structure. After you clean your mushroom, then you want to remove the stem from the cap. Now, a lot of times the stem will just pop right off. Now, these are so fresh, and I find that with fresh mushrooms that they give me trouble. So in many cases, you may need to use a knife and cut through the stem of the mushroom to pop it from the cap. Go ahead and do that for all of your mushrooms. Today's easy mushroom recipe requires just 3 ingredients: prepared mushrooms, some shredded Parmesan cheese, and this is truly semi-homemade because I'm using my favorite spinach artichoke dip. Now you can make your own, but we're making this an easy appetizer today, so we're using prepared spinach artichoke dip. I have found 3 that I really like. One is at Costco, one is the Marketplace brand at Walmart, and the other is at the local Publix grocery store. All of them are delicious, and I just enhance them with a little extra cheese. Take about 1 cup of your favorite spinach artichoke dip and add a third of a cup, a generous third of a cup, of shredded Parmesan cheese. Mix it well. So this is going to be a cheesy spinach artichoke stuffed mushroom. Once you have the dip and the Parmesan cheese mixed together, just take a spoon and fill the cap of each of the mushrooms very generously. Now, you want to have your oven preheating to 350 degrees while you do this. Unless you're making these early in the day, which you can do. You can prepare these in advance and just set them into your refrigerator until you're ready to bake them off. Now, one of the things you may notice as I'm filling these mushrooms is that the size of the mushrooms is varied. You know, that can be a challenge when you're cooking the stuffed mushrooms, but I find that it doesn't really make that much of a difference, as long as I'm careful to make sure that all of the mushrooms are cooked through. You can buy a couple of packages of the fresh mushrooms to find a consistent size, but I wouldn't fret over it too much. I find that, as I said, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. You're going to find that this mixture, this starting with the cup of the dip and then adding a third of a cup of Parmesan cheese, is enough to fill the caps of 12 mushrooms. I've made this recipe several times and it's fairly consistent that I use this combination per dozen mushrooms. Once all of the mushrooms are filled, just go back and top each of the mushrooms with a little bit of extra shredded Parmesan cheese. Now into the oven at 350 degrees for approximately 20 to 30 minutes. You just want to look for them to be bubbly and browned and the mushrooms to be tender. Now for our second stuffed mushroom recipe, it's easy 3 cheese stuffed mushrooms. Let's take a look at the ingredients we're going to use for our easy cheesy stuffed mushrooms. There are 24 mushroom caps. These are baby bellas or cremini mushrooms that I have brushed clean and removed the stems and then chopped the stems finely. We also have 3 ounces of cream cheese softened, 4 ounces of sharp white cheddar mixed with 2 ounces of shredded parmesan, and they have been divided. This is going to go into the filling that's in the bowl here, and then I've reserved some to put on the top of the mushrooms when they cook. About 1/4 of a medium onion minced, 1/2 of a large jalapeno seeded and minced, 2 cloves of garlic grated using a rasp, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, and then we'll have some salt and pepper. To make the filling, melt a tablespoon of butter and about a tablespoon of olive oil together in a medium pan over medium-high heat. You want to get your oil nice and sizzly. Then add the stems, and hear it start to sizzle. Onion and the jalapeno pepper, a little bit of coarse salt, and some fresh ground black pepper. Remember, these are little bites, and they need to be seasoned well in order for them to taste delicious. So now I'm adding 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Just to cook up a little bit, you'll smell the delicious aroma of the Italian seasoning. Now I'm adding the garlic. Now I'm going to turn up the heat and let this filling cool down a little bit before we finish making the filling for the stuffed mushrooms. While the filling was cooling, I mashed together the cream cheese, the cheddar cheese, and the Parmesan cheese, just using the back of my spoon to combine it well. I'm now mixing the cooled stem mixture in with the cheese mixture, using the same technique, sort of a mashing technique, to combine all the ingredients. Remember, you really do need to taste as you go. I like to make little balls and press them to each of the mushroom caps. You'll use all of your filling to make the 24 mushroom caps. Then top each one with a little bit of the reserved cheese mixture. Have your oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's the pan ready for the oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes till they're bubbly and starting to brown.